Hello, this is a Grotrian 120 made in 1926, just come into stock, and I'm just assessing what sort of work needs doing on it. Now, Grotrians have beautifully designed pedals. I'm just looking at here, see how much wear there is. That's an indicator of how much the piano has probably been used, with the sustain pedal being used. And before we do the mechanical assessment though, let's look at the casework. Very dusty, as you can see. It's come in like this, and the casework is in need of repolishing. We've already decided we're going to repolish this because Grotrians are such good pianos that they really merit it. So you see the top here, but that'll come out beautifully. It's a nice mahogany and it'll come out beautifully. And there's the top of the fall, and again, obviously in need of repolishing. We could tidy it up, but we're not just going to do that with this piano because it's going to be an exceptional piano. This is a mahogany piano that we're repolishing. This is a Bluthner style 4, and it's being fully repolished. It was redder. You'll see, actually you can see the video of this if you look for Bechstein style 4 or model 4. You're bound to find it. We've got several of them. Well, you see, you should be able to find this one. It's actually just been sold, and the client's asked for us to polish it. Here are the sides of the piano. It's in the polishing room still, so it's not quite finished, but we've made it kind of honey golden with a tint of red and yellow. So our polisher's an artist. I'm very enthusiastic having him on our team. There's a music stand. Those who are familiar with Model 4, Style 4 Bluthners, there's the smallest Bluthner Grand. We try and source as many as we can, and they repolish beautifully. As you'll know, if you've seen the other video, it's just a much redder colour normally. I'm not sure if this will come out as accurate as it should do because it's a video, but anyway, I thought you'd like to show you a quick sample of what we do. Just wanted to show you the prop stay here, which is unique to Grotrians as far. Well, maybe not, but I don't see them on any other piano so far. And watch that, just tips over, and beautiful, typical of Grotrian really. They've thought so much about the design of their piano. You might notice I've been calling it Grotrian, not Grotrian Steinweg. Nowadays it is called Grotrian normally, the Grotrian Piano Company. Steinweg was the brother of Steinway, apparently, and I think that's authenticated, and stayed in Germany when Steinway became Steinway and moved to the USA. So it's Steinweg here. Just wanted to show you the back of a Grotrian, and wonderful design, very strong design. This was copied by other makes later on, and but Grotrian used this. I don't know when they stopped using it, but certainly this age of Grotrian, 1920s, is one of the ones we're particularly looking for. And if you're looking at the soundboard, it's in perfect condition, meaning there's no cracks on it at all, no openings up at all, so that's good news. Interesting. This makes interesting reading inside the piano here. A pianoforte dealer and tuner says at the bottom, to maintain at correct pitch and obtain best results, this pianoforte should be skillfully tuned at least 4 times per annum. And that's quite common to find that in pianos of the 1920s. Key tops here, original ivory. Note there's 85 keys here, not 88, but that's very, very common in upright pianos of this age. Bechstein, other makes also have 85 keys on some of their models. To make this piano slightly smaller, not many people use the top 3 keys. We're looking at the ivories here, and they're perfect, and none of them come off at all, so that's good news. Now, I'm really grateful whenever we get a Grotrian in because they're such well-made pianos, and I'll try and describe why as we go along. The tone, it's so even and so lush, really. If you're tuning them, you really notice it. The quality of the piano, it oozes quality right throughout, and very even tone. Tenor's beautiful, and the bass too. Now you note there's a gap there. That's because we've taken a couple of hammers off, and I'll explain. Basically, the hammers are, if you are putting the pedal down now, and you can see it's not been used for a long time. Pitch is A437, which implies it's not been used or tuned for a long time, but very stable. It's in tune with itself, the octaves and so on, because that's such a well-made piano. But they definitely need either lubricating or the centre pins changing. I've taken 2 hammers off here just to look at the hinges, and if we move that one, it should go back when I move it there. It's not going back at all. The spring should pull it back. The spring is fine, but if we look at this one, which I've lubricated using Protect, which is a very common piano lubricant, especially for pianos, not WD-40, that tends to gum up the felt. But as we pull that back, now it springs back. So there we are, and the spring lets it go back. Let's take it right off the table here. And this is actually a key carrying bench as it were. There we are, going right back very happily. And let's look at the other one. If we try to move that one back, so let's try and get that in the right way around. There we go. Push it up, doesn't want to come back at all. So either we change the centre pins here or we lubricate. Now that one's sufficiently freed off for lubrication. It's a debate as to whether you do one or the other. If you change the pins, you've got to do it very accurately indeed. Pre-otic lubricant is fine. If they're really bad, you might feel you want to change the pins. I think probably we'll be able to lubricate this, but if you want to ask me at the end what we've done, now that's interesting. I want to show you the tapes. Now these are original tapes on the piano, and perfect in every way, so well made, so thick, the leather, thick leather here, so I want to keep them that way. And what we've done here is put hand cream on. If you can put oil on here, it's not so good. It tends to damage the leather. It's felt. Some people feel that. If you're a technician, you can give your own opinion. This is hand cream to just make them bland, so you can pull them backwards and forwards. Look at this one, you see I can't pull it. It's going to break if I'm not careful. They tend to break across here where you can see they break there. So if you can make them nice and bland, we would very, very regularly change tapes, obviously, but if we can keep the originals, which are so well made, it'll be very nice to do so, because I'll show you another reason for keeping them. So the originals are actually fixed into the butt here, through they're put on when this is put on, and obviously it's very difficult to do that, and I don't know any technician who does that, or perhaps there are some. Perhaps you can comment. Most people stick the tapes either under here, or they tick them along the shank there. Some tapes go into this part here, actually. Grotrians go here, so I expect just put them on here. So we regularly do them, but in this case we might be able to rescue the originals, which is nice. While we're looking at the action, by the way, there's hardly any wear here, as we're going to look at the hammers in a minute, which is the main telltale. But this felt is almost 100%, and that is too. So there's absolutely no reason to change those. And then Grotrian's so well made. Looking at the end of this hammer, it's had some wear on it. I think I'll show you all the hammers at once, that's easier. So looking at all the hammers, you can see the hammer wear. There we are. And it's had a reasonable amount of use in its early days, I suspect. But if you actually look at how much felt's left, that's nearly 100%, so they can be refaced very happily and then voiced. They'd sound good already, so if you're used to sort of refacing, which is fine, they do sound quite strong already. It's round here they tend to go a bit weak. I think we will reface them lightly. If you reface them too much, the main problem is that when you reface, you've got to make sure that they're hitting all three strings together. You can actually make it worse by refacing if you don't reface accurately. So just taking them very gently, the top layer off here, all the way around, and that'll bring a bit more sharpness of tone, but it's already very, very good. I normally mention this first because it's the most important point, and that's are the tuning pins tight. These are original strings. You can tell a very floppy tuning lever because it's a medium star, and these are the smallest pins, and because they're originals. When you restring, you put bigger pins in. This rest plank is perfect, so there's absolutely no reason why we should think about having to change the tuning pins. And as the strings sound so good, just very fruity, out of tune there, but. And down here, just such a rich tone. So that's an assessment of a Grotrian Steinweg 120 upright that's just come into stock, and just looking at it to see what kind of work needs doing. I always get very enthusiastic when we get a Grotrian Steinweg upright of 1920s. Sorry, it's 1926. They're just such, to me, extraordinary pianos. I don't know what words to put on it. The lushness of the tone. Now this one's been neglected for a while, but once we've worked on it, it'll be 100%, I'm sure. You listen to the lushness of the bass, and just round here, I don't know if you can pick it up on the video really, but I can assure you, as a tuner, I'm always very enthusiastic when I tune one of these, because it's just such an enjoyable experience. Everywhere on the piano it sings. It's not been tuned since it's been in, not been tuned for many, many years. 3 beats flat on concert pitch. Just a piano that you can play and just play all day, really. We're going to repolish it. You could buy the piano before it's polished, but it's in such need of polishing, really, that I think polishing is the answer. And it's such a high quality piano that polishing it is definitely worthwhile. Thank you very much for listening.